What's up everybody and welcome to the channel. In today's video we are taking a look at a racing yellow 992 Porsche 911 Carrera. This is a base model 911. We're going to look at it inside now and see what it has to offer. Big shout out and thank you to Carolina Auto Direct for providing this car for today's video. Take a look at their website linked below. They have a really awesome selection of some pretty sweet cars. So we're going to unveil the MSRP and the going price for a car like this at the end of the video. So let's get right into it. Powering the Porsche 911 992 generation is going to be a 3-liter twin turbocharged flat 6-cylinder engine. It's a boxer motor pumping out 379 horsepower with 331 pound-feet of torque. It's paired to the 8-speed dual clutch transmission and sends all of the power to the rear wheels. And with a curb weight around 3,300 pounds, you're looking at 0 to 60 in 4 seconds flat, topping out at 182 miles per hour, and then running on a 17.6 gallon fuel tank. You can expect 18 miles per gallon in the city with 24 out on the highway. The overall length is 178 inches with wheelbase at 96.5, width is 73, and height is 51 inches. And then now moving on to the exterior styling with a 992 Porsche 911 Carrera. This has a very nice design, of course very traditional for any Porsche. We have the massive round headlights with a very cool quad design for the LED DRLs, and you get that beam right in the center. You can see some LED fog lights down below with a massive opening to allow cooling to the radiators, parking sensors down below as well. And then another opening right in the center that's actually fake. It's just a plastic piece, but it directs all the air around it into the vents and around the car. You can see the black trim on the lower side with some yellow for that front splitter. Very low front end, and I just love the design overall. It's a nice up-to-date version of this traditional design. Taking a look at the boot lid, you can see the Porsche logo right in the center. Very smooth lines going towards the windshield, kind of a subtle design, and yeah, I like how sharp those lines are as well. As we make our way to the side profile, you can see just how far that front end sticks out, giving it that traditional look. Then we get a set of silver wheels with a split 5-spoke and a black Porsche brake caliper. You get ventilated rotors up front. These are 19-inch wheels as well. Then I like the smoked out turn signal on the side. We get the fuel cap on the front fender and then a set of body colored mirrors as well as body colored door handles that are sunken into the bodywork. All black around the windows to give it that clean design. And then that side profile design is very legendary. I love how the front end looks and then how the entire roofline slopes into the rear. It has a fantastic look all around, super classy, super traditional, a nice large rear window, and then the biggest thing are these massive rear fenders. You can just see how much wider it is from the front of the car. It looks so cool, just this massive bulge around the car. Great design. As we make our way in back, you can see the third brake light is up on top of the engine slot. You can see how everything is laid out, and like you saw earlier, that's the only thing that'll open to let you see a little bit of the engine. In back, we have a power operated rear wing that'll pop up with a touch of a button, and you get this massive LED rear taillight. I love how sunken it is into the bodywork with Porsche written out. Get 911 in the new font, more yellow all around. The lower diffusers finished off in yellow. Then we get more of this plastic with all of your parking sensors, a dual exhaust system with square-shaped tips, and the rear end of the 992 comes together to keep giving this a more modern feel. And then switching over to the key fob, this has a really nice body color to match design with the Porsche logo. You have your trunk button as well as lock and unlock. Keeping it in my pocket, I can just walk up to it and grab this flush-mounted door handle. It automatically unlocks, and you can just pull it and it will open. If you hit the unlock button, these will automatically pop open like you see right now. This gets a full black leather interior with yellow seat belts and some black accents all throughout. Taking a look at the door panel now, finished off in black, we get a very cool looking dark gray trim piece that leads its way into the release handle with lock and unlock, window controls and mirror controls, and some leather on the armrest with your grab handle and a little bit of storage. We get 911 Carrera written out on the door sill, then some power controls on the left side of the seat, as well as the front trunk and that rear opening. This does have a manual lever to slide this forwards and back. Then you have really nice black leather, perforated leather throughout the centers, and nice bolsters. Pretty nice going all the way up towards the headrest. Then we get a black steering wheel with all black accents. And then now inside the 992, keeping my foot on the brake, we can just grab this piece on the far left side, turn it, and that will fire up the ignition. Taking a look at the gauge cluster now, I love how you get an analog tach front and center with your speed readout. Very nice and traditional. There's a massive LCD screen on the left side as well as on the right side, and you can configure that by using the buttons on the far right. You have a left and right icon and then a scroller and back button. Right now you can see some engine vitals. If I scroll up, you can see a G-force meter. We get a full navigation screen that will come up as well. Then a lot more trip information will come up. If I then toggle this button, you can see how that red goes over on this side, and from here I can scroll up and down, see a few more things that will come up within the car. So I really like how simple that is and yet how classy it looks. We have Porsche's crest, a few Bluetooth and audio controls, as well as a button right here that'll do a shortcut that you can configure on the screen. We get a set of paddle shifters. They're a few inches, have a really good look and feel, and they are made out of metal. Then we have our turn signal stalk on the left side, as well as cruise control down below that, then windshield wipers on the right side. To the left of the steering wheel, we have headlight controls as well as your key, and then you can see an air vent, a cool material, then a leather type material plastic running across the dashboard. I like how this is kind of a texture and a three-dimensional look as you make our way to the infotainment screen. Right now, we can just exit out of there. You have a pretty good setup with a lot of information. It is touchscreen. We have the navigation that'll pop up on here, so it's nice to have both of the screens doing that. You can have all of your media that will come up as well. Phone integration, and then when you tap the car icon, you can configure quite a bit. You can open and close that exhaust valve like you already heard. You have the spoiler to go up and down, different drive modes into sport mode. Your chassis you can adjust, so it's nice to see all the different settings. You can scroll this up and down, see climate information coming up as well. Very easy to navigate and do this. And then all of your different apps as well. You have driver's assistance. You can see all the safety sensors, items that will come up as well, sound systems, and then a few more settings. If I go ahead and take the shifter, push it all the way forward with my foot on the brake, we can go into reverse. You get a pretty good HD backup camera on the right side of the screen with your parking sensors on the left. Then going ahead and just tapping P, we're back into park. Underneath the screen, we have some cool toggles for your wet mode. You also have the sport mode and hazards, traction control and suspension, so it makes it super simple to quickly adjust the drive modes. Two of your air vents down below that, and then climate controls are right here with more toggles for your fan speed, dual zone temperature you can easily adjust. We have some audio controls on the left with defrost, and then the wheel on the right side can actually control what you see in the screen. You can easily use that to control everything. So it's really cool how you don't always have to just use the touchscreen. Makes it super simple. The shifter itself is a new design, very short and stubby, but actually super functional. And we get some piano black, heated seats, and a cup holder with your parking brake. Then underneath that, if you grab this button, open it up, we get a little bit of storage with some USD and SD card slots. So at least that's good enough for a phone or a wallet. We still get a traditional glove box over here, which is a pretty good size. And then one last look at the interior. I love how Porsche makes it so simple and yet so nice. And even being a base model car, it's still appointed very nicely and it just feels very premium. Up top, we just get your dome lights as well as a mirror and then your two sunshades. The 911 Carrera is also a 2+2 seater. If you grab the leather strap on the backs of these seats, we can get these up and forward out of the way, get you a little bit better access into the rear where you're gonna find these two additional seats with the yellow matching seat belts. So then hopping into the back seat of the 911 Carrera, 2+2 seat cars are not necessarily designed for full-grown adults. As you can see, I have pretty much no headroom and my knees are pretty up and high, and putting this back, I literally can't even fit my knee in this gap. So not ideal at all for a grown-up to sit here. You gotta be completely squished. However, it's nice in a pinch if you have kids or something. It could be usable, but the storage space is really what you're gonna use this for. However, back here, there is storage space in the back, and you can grab this lever and pull these seats down, and it gives you even more storage. So you have a nice shelf here, you can put stuff underneath it, and then of course the shelf in the back makes it pretty useful. So while the seats aren't the best for people, for stuff it's pretty practical. And then moving on to the front storage space where the actual trunk is, you can press the button on the key fob, of course that one on the interior, and this will lift open. The 911 offers a ton of storage space for being a rear engine vehicle with a front trunk. You could fit quite a few duffel bags or pieces of luggage or something in here to make this an extremely practical sports car. All right, so we are setting off now in the Porsche 911. For being a base model car, technically, with the basic power plant that this car offers, this thing is quick, it's peppy. The turbo engine packs a nice punch, and when you're sitting in this, you just feel like you are shrunken around. The car is just wrapping around you so nicely. The handling is insane. The steering, I mean, you just don't get better than this. It is so pinpointy and fun to drive. I love that aspect. And the visibility is great. You have a huge windshield. You can even see the fenders, which is pretty cool. Good view out the back, and over your shoulders, you have no blind spots. This is an exotic sports car where it is insanely practical to be in. It is a lot of fun to drive. In sport mode, the exhaust sounds good. The suspension, we're tightened up. It is so easy to take turns quick in this car. It just responds and does what you want. The 8-speed transmission is so responsive with these paddle shifters. It is a really, really good blend. It sounds pretty good too. I just like how responsive and comfortable and nice this car is. Such good power delivery from that motor. This thing is really nice. Now, if we tone it all down, normal mode, I like how we can do that with the toggles or touchscreen, so you don't always have to be on this car page. I can easily bump everything up or bump everything down. So I think that's a really good touch the way Porsche did that. But if we go back into automatic, normal everything, the car tones down to where it's just a comfortable luxury car. I can see why people are gonna buy these. I mean, this is a daily, you could drive this all day long and just not get tired. I'm so comfortable just driving this car. It's a nice place to be. It's a forgiving car to be in. You really can't complain. But if you want to play with it a little bit, couple buttons, go into the sport modes and manual mode. And then now we can have fun doing what this car is built for. It is so pinpointy. The suspension tightens up. The steering is just phenomenal. I love that tack. It is such a good responsive car. This is crazy how good this car is. I'm enjoying it. And the fact that it's actually pretty practical with that trunk space, with the seat space and storage in the back, this is a car that can kind of do it all, and I'm becoming a bigger and bigger fan of the 911s. I think they offer so much for the money, and you cannot go wrong with this car. It is an absolute blast to drive, a great place to be. All right, turning around to my honest thoughts of this car. Man, this is a cool car to be in. So it's not a GT3 or GT2 or even the Turbo S, but this is just like a fun car to be in. It's so nice in here, even though we have a lot of fake leathers, a lot of plastics. It's a nice place to be, and it drives so good. The power delivery is so smooth. You can use the power that this car has to offer actually on the roads and not get into too much trouble. However, it can still get to some high speeds. It handles so pinpointy, even though the engine is at the back of the car in the wrong place, and yet it feels really fun and pinpointy around the turns. It's just a pleasant car to be in. I love how quick the transmission is. Gosh, this is a car you drive and you just want to keep driving. Gosh. It's not crazy fast, like full throttle, pedal to the floor. I mean, obviously it's not the fastest car in the world, 4 seconds 0 to 60. It's a quick car though, and it's a well-balanced car. When you're buying the normal 911, you're not buying it because you want a Turbo S. You're buying it because you want a really well-rounded, balanced car, and it's just a nice premium sports car, and it gives you kind of the best of everything. You have that exotic look, that really elegant design, nice interior, fantastic tech. This is my first time really experiencing the 992's interior technology, and it's honestly really easy to get used to and use. I think it's pretty decently user-friendly. Looks really nice as well. And the fact that this is a usable car at the end of the day, that's pretty economical as far as like gas mileage and stuff. You know, you can use this as your daily. There's not going to be any sacrifices to using this as your normal car. Now, price point, base models, this goes for around 100 grand, like starting price. This one is in the low $100,000 range. Do I think it's worth the price? Honestly, yes, I do. There are a few things I wish it had, like the manual sliding the seat forwards and back. Kind of ridiculous on a six-figure car. When you have power controls for the seat going up and down and reclining, why is it manual sliding? That's kind of dumb. The interior not having leather on the dash and doors for 100 grand, again, you know, they should just come standard with at least a leather interior package for the dash and doors. I know that's optional. You can add that to this car for more money. Porsche pretty much has a million options. You can do so many specs. The seat belt is like a $600 option. But even a more toned down spec'd car, take away the plastic on the doors and dash and the manual on the seats, it's just a pleasant place to be, and I think it's well worth the money, mainly because these sell. People buy them, they know what they're buying, they're fantastic cars. They are so well-rounded and just good all around. You can't really argue with it. It's not the most flashy car, you know, for the same money. A C8 Corvette looks way cooler. However, this is that subtle tone back. I don't need to be so flashy, even though we are in a bright yellow car, so obviously this one's a little flashy, but the design is just very classic and timeless. These cars haven't changed since the inception of the Porsche 911, and they age well. You know, when you look at one of these cars, they always look good, especially the last 20 years, I would say. They all look really good, and this car is gonna age nicely, and it's a car you can just enjoy, and I've become more and more of a fan of these. When I was younger, I wasn't a fan of any of the Porsches because they all look like a Cayman for 50 grand, you know, why spend anything more? But each trim level offers you a completely different experience, and this one being the cheap 911, it offers you just a good, well-rounded car that's not crazy to get into. Obviously, six figures is a lot of money for a car, but it's not that far-fetched for a lot of people to get into. So it's a pretty good, well-rounded car, and honestly, I'm loving it. I'm loving what Porsche has to offer, and these 911s are taking it up a notch to give you just like a perfect car. That is it then for today's video. Hope you enjoyed the 992 Carrera. Big shout out to Carolina Auto Direct for providing this super cool car for today's video. They have an insane selection. I am liking these Porsches more and more. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you all in the next video.